Right, guys, welcome back to the channel, and I am here that side this time with Mr. Grant Fraser once again. Grant, thank you very much for joining me.
No problem. No problem. Happy to be here.
So today we're going to talk about, and I'm going to choose my words very specifically here, okay? A roaring, trampling god of earthquakes and wanton destruction. Kragnos is known as the end of empires. In his gnarled hands, the dread mace can shatter the walls of cities, even as the shield Tuskbreaker keeps him all but inviolate. Inviolate is a word that I had to Google to find out what it meant.
I feel it's a word that Games Workshop use quite often, though, but I don't think it's one that I ever see anywhere else.
No. Basically, it's defensible, unwounded kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that's kind of funny, Grant.
Yes.
Because it doesn't do that.
No. Well, it does a little bit against certain things.
The important thing is, right, obviously they've released his warscroll. Now, I'm just going to point out that we don't know allegiance abilities. He's probably going to have his own allegiance ability, isn't he?
Well, I'd like to think he would.
He should.
So
he should. But
given that it specifically says, jumping ahead, he doesn't benefit from any allegiance abilities, maybe that means there isn't one coming for him, though.
Is it any at all?
What's the exact wording?
You can include Kragnos in a destruction army, even if he does not have the army's keyword on his war scroll. If you do so,
he cannot benefit from any allegiance.
So if you include him in another, so basically Kragnos might be enough to, like the Kragnos keyword might be enough to actually give him his own. Anyway,
yeah, it'll depend when we see the book.
Anyway, GW have hyped the out of this 36 mortal wounds on the charge.
Technically correct.
Technically correct, yes. Now, let's go over his whole war scroll. It's what?
No. It's the best kind of correct.
Technically correct. So, going over his war scroll, he's got 18 wounds. That's not bad.
I think the issue I have with wounds right now is that the big giants kind of skew them. Because he's supposed to be that sort of size, and they've got a lot more wounds than he does.
Yeah, when you compare him to other things, Morathi has 12. Alariel's like 16, I think.
Yeah.
Nagash is 16.
Scroll as well in this book, I think, Alariel.
Yeah, she's getting an updated war scroll, but we don't know that yet.
No, we don't.
Currently, Alariel has like 16 wounds. Archeon's 20, I think.
Yeah.
What's Nagash? 16, 18?
Something like that.
Something like that.
For drug and stuff. So
Frostlord and Stonehorn, 13.
Yes.
And there are a variety of points. I mean, Archeon was, 800 and odd? Nagash is now 975.
yeah, forgot he went up again.
Alariel was 600, and you got 200 points of free models, basically.
Yeah, she was revealed with 400.
Morathi she's now 600, I think.
660?
No, 600. I think it's 480 and 120, because you've got to take them as a pair. And bearing in mind, we don't know the points for Kragnos at this point either.
No.
Right?
No.
So I would put him, I would guess, based on the wounds and the type of model he is, probably somewhere around 600 to 800 points.
I think that's where they'll put him. I'm not saying that's where I think he should be.
No.
I think there's a key part of his stats that will overprice him. And that's his save.
Yeah. So 2-up save.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Does anything else in Sigmar have a 2-up save? A natural 2-up save?
I don't think anything comes base with a 2-up save.
No.
I can't think of a single model.
There's lots with a 3-up, and you can get +1 to it and stuff.
Yeah, 3's become a lot more common. It didn't used to be, but it has become more common. And yeah, I don't think anything is base 2-up.
No. But he does degrade. He degrades. He's got 4 brackets, which is actually good. And the way that they've done the brackets is interesting. So he doesn't degrade until he's lost half of his wounds.
Yeah.
Which is the same as 40k. And
which maybe is a sign of things to come.
correct us if I'm wrong, but the Sons of Behemat, you've got to lose, I think, 12 or 13 wounds before you
Something
start
like
degrade,
that.
which is a third, but they've
Yeah.
got 35 wounds.
Yeah.
So he degrades 4 times, he moves 10, 9, 8, 7. That's still reasonable movement.
And yeah, he's got a fairly large base as well. I don't know. They haven't said what size, but it must be like a one.
I would say
170 oval. Maybe.
No, it'll be a round. It'll be 100 mil round at least.
I thought it looked more oval in the pictures. But I think it's just the rock making me think it's more of an oval because of the way the big rock's pointed.
And I'm not gonna lie, he's a massive beatstick. He really is, right?
Yeah.
Range 3 on his dreaded mace, which is incredibly good, right?
Mm-hmm.
He can reach
which never degrades either.
No, and you can reach range 3. If you plan your charge, you can reach over and hit another unit that you're not even in engagement range with. Well, you would be at that point.
Someone set up their screens wrong.
Oh yeah,
they'll pay for it against.
Absolutely. 6 attacks, hitting on 3s. Okay.
It's again. Remember, this is destruction we're dealing with. They don't.
No.
Hitting on 3s is about as good as it gets.
But it's a big giant mace. Why can't he sweep and double his attacks and like half the damage? He should be able to do that, in my opinion.
Because nothing in AOS does that yet. That's a 40k rule.
So he hits on 3. So you're going to hit 4 times. He wounds on 2. So likely to get 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Minus 3 rend.
Yeah.
And 4 damage.
Yeah.
Is incredible.
So, yeah, he's going to... And that's another reason why you don't have to worry about the roll and the double attacks, because I think that's only a thing in 40k because damage doesn't carry over.
Yeah.
Because obviously damage carries over in AOS. Even if they get 2 hits through, that's still 8 wounds on the unit. Mm-hmm. And at minus 3, a lot of things won't be getting a save.
Like, most stuff won't get a save.
No, a lot of things, after saves and shrugs and stuff.
But if you look at it,
saves.
I don't think there's a single demon other than Bellow that has a save better than a 4+.
No, wouldn't think so.
And even then, is Bellicaw's more than a 4+? I can't remember.
No, but it's unrendable.
Fair enough. Even Stardrakes, Alariel, they're on a 3-up save. It's dropped to a 6. Actually, on the subject of the save as well, Catacross, if you use Supreme Lord of the Bone Reapers, command ability puts him on a 2-up save.
Yeah.
But it's a 3-up natural.
Yeah. Well, it's like a Stardrake. A Stardrake's pretty much always on a 2-up because you give it Staunch Defender.
Yeah.
So it's the same kind of, you can buff your way to it. It's still buffing your way to a 2-up. It's not on the War Scroll as a 2-up.
But then we've got Tuskbreaker, so he's obviously going to hit you with a shield. Range 1, fine. 3 attacks, 3s, 2s, minus 2, D3. It's alright. I just wish they would get rid of D3 damage and just make it 2 damage.
It's a tough one. I mean, I think 2 damage would have to be costed more than D3 damage because it's more consistent.
Yeah. The good thing is, I feel he's reasonably consistent in the sense that 2 out of 3 of his attacks have flat damage. Like, imagine if that mace was D6 damage, you'd just cry every time, wouldn't you?
Oh yeah. You would never get anywhere with it. But even if you look at the Tuskbreaker, okay, it's D3 damage, but it doesn't degrade either.
No.
So that's 9 attacks so far you're getting, regardless how hurt he is.
Yes.
All at multiple damage potential.
And then the Hooves of Racket and Ruin, he starts with 6 attacks and degrades down to 3. So that's still 12 attacks on his worst profile.
Yeah.
And granted, that's less rend, but you're still hitting on 3s and wounding on 2s with all of his attacks.
Yeah.
Minus 3, minus 2, minus 1 rend, 4 D3 and 2 damage.
Yeah.
That's good. That is very good output.
Oh yeah, he will kill things.
It's more consistent than Gargants, I think.
Yeah, but Gargants aren't there to kill things.
They should be.
They're there to hold the objective and then die, and then win the game. That's what they're there to do.
So,
put things in their plans.
Yeah, so reading these special abilities, he's got quite a few special abilities, right? We're not going to argue. 18 wounds is decent. His damage output is very good. His save of 2+ is good.
Yes.
And he has a rule which we'll get to called Rampage and Destruction, which is good. But everything else just feels not good.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of very, what's the word, niche abilities he has.
Yeah.
In just, he doesn't really buff any army he's in by that much.
Well, he does. He does. Get this, right? So, the niche rule that Grant is referring to is Destroyer of the Draconith Empire. You can reroll charge rolls and hit rolls for this model whilst it is within 12 of enemy Star Drakes, Drakes, Dracoths, and Dracolines. Currently, nothing has the Drake keyword.
Yeah.
That is very, very specific to a very niche part of an army that currently nobody plays. Like, even Lucy doesn't play them anymore.
I have 8 Dracoths sitting on the shelf.
And how long have they been on the shelf, Grant?
Since last January. But I took them to an event and I came first at that event.
Alright, fair enough then.
Well, it's a narrative event and I only won 1 game. But still, I have a first place trophy.
It's very niche. It depends what they're going to do with Stormcast. Obviously, they're going to be the first book of 3rd edition.
Yeah, well, they're good. They've already said they're in the starter set.
Yeah.
So, they're going to be out the gate like last time.
The thing that he does do to buff destruction armies, add 1 to the bravery characteristic of friendly destruction units wholly within 12 of this model. That means if your ogres are in engagement range, they've got +3 to their bravery.
Yeah.
That's good.
It is, but I don't think he fits in any ogre army list I've read.
No.
I can't figure out what I would take out to put him in. And
let's face it, with stabbers on bravery 4, why would you... Bravery 5 makes no difference.
If it had been with wholly within 12 was immune to battle shock,
yeah,
would maybe be weaker than. Then he could go in a Gits army of lots of little Gits around him. There could be something there. But +1 bravery in an allegiance with terrible, like, well, let's say put him with some spider. They're bravery 4. Okay, now you're bravery 5. Like,
it doesn't matter.
No, not at all.
The problem with that, right, if staying wholly within 12, right, is the likelihood is you're going to be within 6.
Yes.
He has an ability called Bellow of Rage. At the end of any phase, if any wounds were allocated to this model in that phase and not negated, roll a dice for each other unit and each defensible terrain feature within 6, not wholly within, of this model. If the roll is equal to or greater than the Bellow of Rage value shown on this model's damage table, that unit suffers D3 mortal wounds and the defensible terrain feature is destroyed. So, 3 things there. The Bellow and Rage ability, whilst he's unwounded or above half strength, it's a 5+, drops to a 4, 3, 2. So as he gets more angry, he shouts more. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Kind of like Scarbrand.
Yeah.
But the second part of this rule that I don't like is if any wounds are allocated to this model in that phase are not negated. I understand that's clarifying rules so that, you know, but he can't negate any wounds.
Mystical terrain.
Fair enough.
That's the only one I can think of because I was discussing it before this, and that was only one at the moment I'm aware of that he could have. Because he can't take any artifacts. There's no spells that I can think of that aren't keyworded to their own allegiance that he could benefit from. So, unless he has an allegiance with their own 6-up shrug, it's just for if he's on mystical terrain, which again just needs to be clarified, and it's fine. That's
the issue that I have with this.
Overly clarified than under clarified.
The issue that I have with this is the third point. Any units.
Yeah.
Your own units.
If you're angry and you're shouting, it doesn't matter that I'm your friend or not. It's still gonna hurt. Like.
I know, but then why give him a rule that gives destruction +1 bravery within 12 if you're going to be hurting them?
I mean, it's destruction. Ogre tyrants hurt their ogres. You know.
Yeah, but then they're immune to battle shock. They don't give them +1 bravery, Grant. They give them immunity.
Yes.
And you don't even kill an ogre when you do it.
No. There is one other point in this ability that I think's potentially key.
The defensible terrain.
Yeah.
How much are they going to push it in 3rd edition?
Well, I think 3rd edition is going to be complete terrain overhaul. I was saying that before, like last couple of games I've had here, we've been rolling up the terrain and also like playing more not being playing more 40k, but simply watching more 40k and getting my army ready for that. Terrain is so much more of a thing, and I think that's something that needs to happen in AOS because you look for mystical, commanding, arcane, a couple other bits and pieces depending on your army build, but a lot of you just ignore. So I think that's a sign that maybe terrain's going to be getting a lot more keyworded.
I mean, imagine if ruins became defensible. They are in 40k. I know it's a different game, but like ruins are defensible in 40k. You can either get +1 to hit if you Overwatch, or +1 to hit in combat if you are charged. And we already know that they are creating reactions to being charged. So
yeah, I think it's probably a little sign that because he's up for pre-order this
Saturday. Comes up for pre-order,
and that's also the day that the countdown on the AOS 3 page ends. And they've already said today on the
they've already put it up this afternoon. Actually, that they're going to show the box off.
So yeah, I think we know we're like probably 2 weeks away from AOS.
Do you know what's do you know what's this is a pet hate? They're going to release this Kragnos book, right?
Yeah.
And then a week or two later, AOS 3.
Yeah, well, it'll go up for pre-order, I think, the week after Kragnos. And then it'll be a 2-week pre-order. So I think you'll get 3 weeks of the Kragnos book in AOS 2. And then we'll be into AOS 3.
And the UK has only just started gaming again last week.
Yeah.
Whatever. Anyway, moving on. There's still 2 other rules that we haven't covered. Rampaging Destruction. It's worded it's a bit of a mouthful.
Yeah, and this is the one that they really hyped on the community article.
36 mortal wounds is brutal. It is fantastic. Yeah. However, the chance of getting that...
And the target that you get it on, it's complete overkill most of the time.
But in addition to that, I think the way that they kind of sold it on Facebook and on the community article is like, he's going to charge and do 36 mortal wounds at you. He's not. Yeah. He's really not.
I mean, it's the one time it's going to happen, it's going to be amazing. But it's not going to happen that often.
Do you know what, right? You've got more chance of Archeon killing something outright with Slayer of Kings because you're rolling 4 dice with him and you only need a double 6. So, the rules for him. After this model makes a charge move, you can either roll a dice for each enemy unit that is within 1 of this model. Okay? So, bearing in mind, every enemy unit. Or 1 enemy monster within 12 and roll 2d6. So you've got the choice of 2 abilities.
Any monster within 1.
Within 1, sorry. Yeah. So you've got the choice of 2 abilities here. You could technically charge 3 monsters, Grant, and pick them as 3 units.
Yeah.
Right? Or you could choose 1 monster.
Yeah.
If you roll a dice for each enemy unit within 1 of this model, on a 2+, that unit suffers d6 mortal wounds. That annoys me. Why do you need to roll 2 dice to do that? Why not just roll a dice that suffer d6 mortal wounds, but on a 1 nothing happens?
Yeah. I mean,
it's making you roll 2 dice.
Yeah, it is. It's something that we do see, but I think I agree with you. It would be nice if it was roll a dice on a 1, nothing happens. On a 2+, the unit suffers this many mortal wounds.
Now, bearing in mind, that's not capped.
No. So if you could charge 10 units, you could do 10 d6 mortal wounds.
And you're likely to do more than the next rule. If you chose 1 enemy monster...
Units,
sorry?
That's on them. If somebody lets you charge 10 units at once with him, that's on them.
Yeah, but I mean, still, like, some people probably have, like, 3 characters together.
Yeah,
possibly. That's very likely to happen.
The characters, and you can just take off characters quite easily.
Absolutely. If you pick 1 monster within 1 inch of this model, roll 2d6. On a 7, nothing happens. Okay? Bear that in mind. On any other roll, that monster suffers a number of mortal wounds equal to the score of the dice used for the 2d6. Rolled, multiplied together. For example, a roll of a 2 and a 6 would inflict 12 mortal wounds because 2 times 6.
Mm-hmm.
If you get 6 times 6, that's your 36 mortal wounds.
Yeah. On one monster.
On one monster. And yes, it's good, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, realistically, even 4 times 4 is 16.
Yeah.
Right? You've still got a fair chance at taking out a big monster. You could take out Alariel. You could potentially take out Nagash if he hasn't got protection up. Because a couple... well, unless you're Lucy and roll 46s. Or, do you know what I mean? Something with around 15 to 20 wounds is going to go down.
Or you're going to bracket to the point where he's not going to hurt you back, so you can afford to go with your other units first, and then come back to him later on.
But not even just that. If you charge a monster and a horde, right? Do your mortal wounds to your monster, then attack your horde.
Yeah.
On a 7, nothing happens because rolling a 3 and a 4 is statistically the average.
Mm-hmm.
But that is so swingy, and you've got to charge a monster to be in with a potential of even getting the 36.
And then what will happen is you roll the 2d6, roll a 1, and that's only 1. You roll double 1s, and then you're only going to do 1 mortal wound.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a good rule. It's so swingy. Like, I'm sorry, you'd just rather charge a Stonehorn.
I think there's fun rules within him. I'm not saying there's not. But I think for the way he's been hyped and the fact he's supposed to be like the god of destruction, effectively.
I'm sorry, but I'd take Gordrak over him.
I would just take a standard Frostlord.
Gordrak or a Frostlord. His only real literally saving grace, is his 2-up armor save, but then he's got the shield Inviolate. Each time this model is affected by a spell or an endless spell ability, you can roll 3d6. If the roll is greater than the casting value of that spell or endless spell, ignore the effects of the spell or that endless spell ability on this model. So he will be difficult to mortal wound off with spells.
Yeah. He's going to be pretty resilient against spells. I think if you're going against him and your hope is to take him out with spells, you're probably in for a battle.
If you're playing Zinch, you're screwed.
Yeah, basically. Well, even then, if you've got a couple of Lord of Changes, you roll at least 1 6 in your pool, you're still casting on a 12. So
3d6 average is 10.
Yeah, they're still the best chance of getting it through.
Yeah. But that's the only thing he's got to stop mortals.
Yeah.
A 2-up save isn't... I mean, if you hit him with enough even rend 1 or 2s...
he's going to start feeling. Like,
yeah.
A horde of zombies from the new Soulblight book. They do mortal wounds on 6s.
They'd take him out. 18 wounds is nothing.
Yeah. I mean... Stonehorns. Impact hits, mortal wounds. Metal Cruncher, another d6 mortal wounds.
And then the Frostlord in general can do work.
Mm-hmm.
And a Frostlord's what, 440?
420. Even a Huskard.
No, because the Frostlord's got the spear, that's 3 damage.
Yeah, but even if you look at a Huskard, right? He'll be an Earlbad. So you're going to get the mortal wounds on all of his attacks. So that's going to chip off some extra damage. Plus you'll have Metal Cruncher and still the impact hits. So you could still do work with the Huskard.
Yeah. I feel like he's going to be between 600 and 800 points. And,
yeah, that's what I think.
And honestly, I think it should be about 440, 480-ish.
I would say, I would give him 5. 5 to 550, I think he'd be everywhere. Because it's easy to build a 1,500 point list and slot in a 500 point model.
Yeah.
If he was the same, that puts him in the same price as a Mega Gargant.
Do you know what else as well, right? If he's a god, why can he be insta-killed?
Yeah. That's the thing.
Gargants
Archeon
can't
put a Mega Gargant in his sword, but he can put Kragnos.
Yeah, exactly. Scarbrand can remove him. A reality-splitting axe from a Lord of Khorne can remove him.
Yep.
In one swing.
Gotrek could probably take him out as well.
See, I'm not familiar with Gotrek's rules, so I couldn't say. But like,
he does. I've not ran him in ages, but he does like D6 mortal wounds on 6s. Rerolls everything, I'm pretty sure. Gotrek, here we go. Plus Gotrek should. Yeah, he's got 6 attacks, 3s and 3s, -2, 3 damage. You can reroll hits and wounds, and each unmodified hit roll of a 6 inflicts D6 mortal wounds in addition.
He could probably take him.
And if Kragnos doesn't take him, he fights again on a 2. He fights again at the end of the phase.
And how survivable is he? Doesn't he ignore wounds on a 2 or something?
Everything is 1 damage against him.
Right.
I think. In addition, yeah, damage of plasma. Yeah, change the damage to 1, and he's got a 3-up negate. If Gotrek goes first, he's probably going to take him down a few brackets in some bad rolling. I wouldn't bet against Gotrek in that fight.
I think this calls for another video, Grant.
What can kill him?
What can kill him? I think we'll leave it there. The war scroll seems very hype, and you read the top half and you're like, wow, this guy's awesome, smash! And then you read the bottom and you're like,
I think it's underwhelming is the way I would look at it right now. And I don't think it's bad. I just think, based on where I assume they're going to point him,
I feel like a kid at Christmas when I read him, because I love me destruction armies, right? So like I read the top, it's like 6 attacks hitting on 3s, wounded on 2s, -3, 4 damage. Yes.
He's just going to annihilate things, but the problem is he going to get there?
No, no.
I mean, KO, popular army just now. They're just going to shoot him off eventually and just play around him.
Movement 10, it's quick. But he's a massive centaur. He should be faster.
And he doesn't have fly.
No.
So he's going to have to walk his way through terrain, which is another issue.
Doesn't one of the Mega Gargants move like 11 or 12 as well?
Oh, probably.
I'm sure they're like 10, 11, and 12 for the movement or something like that. I can't remember. It's been a while. But like, I don't know. I feel like a kid at Christmas looking at me brand new fresh toy in there. It's like, yeah.
Yeah, they're all base 11 movement. No, the Kraken Eater moves 11. The Gatebreaker actually moves 12.
Yeah. It's 12, 11, 10. I knew it was.
Yeah. And they can't be insta-killed.
No. And they're only 480 points.
Yeah. They have a lot less damage output.
Yeah.
But Kragnos is 1 model on an objective. They're 20.
30, depending on what you run.
Yeah. Assuming you're running them as like an ally, like Kragnos as a slot in.
Yeah.
Then your Gargan's gonna like. I don't understand why he's only 1 model on an objective. I was hoping he would get something.
They might change the core rules to say that anything with 15 or more wounds counts as 10 models.
100%. There could easily be something coming.
I mean, if you look at the Ogre Tribes book as well, the monsters count as 10.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, it's what makes Beastclaw Raiders playable right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I remember playing them when they were terrible. And you just couldn't score. You had to kill, and it was the only way to play. It's the same with my Archeon list. You can't control objectives. You've got 11 models. You've got to kill. But I don't know. Maybe it's the ladder rule to say that like over certain wounds count as so many on objectives in the core rules.
That's the thing. We're discussing him within the context of AOS 2, which realistically only exists for another month.
Yeah.
So it's hard to say where you'll fit within AOS 3.
Yeah.
But right now, it's iffy. Is what I would say.
Absolutely.
He's no Bellacore.
No, absolutely not.
Bellacore's got his whole allegiance and has some great abilities. I don't think Kragnos is there.
Nah, absolutely not. So we're going to call it there. That's probably gone a bit longer than I initially thought it would. But you know what? He's not. Until we see everything, looking at the war scroll alone, I'm not bothered.
No. And I also have said before, I'm still not sold on the model.
Yeah.
He looks like a Beast of Chaos model.
Yeah.
And the war scroll reads like a Beast of Chaos war scroll because it doesn't do anything.
Do you know what? Right, they're releasing, or they're putting up for pre-order this model, Croak, and the two. Well, it's one kit, but it makes the two new Slash models, and the Sylvaneth Flute Lady,
and the Witch Hunters.
I'm not bothered about the Witch Hunters. I know a lot of people are, but I would, as a big model or a centerpiece model, right? I would sooner buy any of the others over him.
Yeah, and Croak's stunning. Croak overshadows him completely.
Yeah. And we don't even know what Croak does yet.
No, I don't even care. He's phenomenal. Like, he looks amazing. He looks like Croak should.
He looks alive.
Well, he's still not. But he hasn't been alive since Warhammer Fantasy. He's not coming back. They specifically say he's still dead.
All right, okay, fair enough. So that's Kragnos. Hopefully, we get a review copy of the book, and hopefully, this beautiful man might be gracing your screens once again.
Well, maybe
to go over the review with me.
Yeah,
if we get it.
Yeah,
because genuinely at this point, I don't know.
No.
But rating
right now, I think
4 out of 10.
Kragnos.
Yeah.
But I feel like I must be missing something. I feel like I have to be missing something really obvious. Because right now I don't see why he's good.
Nah. And that's it.
Yeah.
We will see you again. Let us know what you guys think of Kragnos in the comments down below. Do you think he's hype? Do you think he's actually good? Will you be putting him in your army? I don't think I will be. Not yet. Not until we see the whole picture.
No. I still think he'll be fun to play, and I'm looking forward to playing against him. Just to see what he can do on the table. I think when he makes combat, he's going to do work.
Yeah. Do you know what? Do you know what? Right, I look forward to the day that Mr. Spink brings his Bone Splitters and Monster Hunters against him.
No, it's going to be gone. He's just going to be a pimp.
Yeah.
Like, it's all going to be.
Yeah. Here, have some big stabbers.
But, yeah. If he took double... Yeah, probably a double Cunning Ruck. Probably. I mean, the amount of time it's going to take to roll that dice, you're going to need to kill him because you're not going to have any time left. You know.
Right. Thank you very much for watching, folks, and we'll see you again very soon.